To the surprise of almost everyone, Nintendo announced a brand new game in the Xenoblade series during their latest Direct, signaling the start of a brand new story. It's the most unique take we've seen on Xenoblade yet, straying away from the typical sci-fi/steampunk settings and seemingly going full fantasy. The game looks awesome, and while it is still clearly a ways away, this new direction already has a chunk of fans worried about what it could mean for this game and the series going forward. So, that begs the very important question. Even though it's so early into the release cycle, is there some validity behind these concerns? And should we truly be worried? No. Thanks for watching. Okay, for real though. Don't get me wrong, the reception of the game has been overwhelmingly positive so far, at least from people who actually care about Xenoblade. But I have seen a vocal minority of people share their concerns, and because I'm so excited for this game, I figured I'd combat this and spread some more positivity by addressing these critiques and talking about why I personally don't think they will be a big problem. Although maybe even bringing attention to the complaints at all is spreading more negativity than me just talking about the game in a good light. Maybe I'm the problem. Regardless, the few concerns that I have seen irritate me. So let's talk about it. Complaint number 1, this game doesn't look like Xenoblade. What? Did we watch the same trailer? I do sort of understand this take if you only watch the trailer once, and if you're not already a fan, and you are wearing a blindfold. And the character designs and setting are pretty different, but the more you watch it, the more you can clearly see that it's not only a Monolith Soft game, but 100% a Xenoblade game. Just to explain what I mean, here are some of the moments that right away told me that it was a Xenoblade game. As a longtime fan, of course. The way the characters start glowing purple during battle immediately made me think of Xenoblade 2 and 3. It's very reminiscent of the aura effects that the characters have throughout those games when they're powered up. The cinematography of some of the scenes are shot and choreographed in a way that feels distinctly Xenoblade. Specifically, this shot of Gordon Ground Punch here. Some people have mentioned how different the art style is, and while it is clearly different, this is exactly what I imagined Xenoblade 3's art style would evolve into, with the beautiful water painting-like colors and the cel shading. There are even some characters and models that really made me think of Xenoblade 2, but maybe that's just me. This shot where the characters are running through the grass in what looks like a gigantic open area is so Xenoblade, I don't even know if I'll be able to explain it properly, but I'll try. The vibrant color of the green grass matching the blue sky is seen on every game's box art, with a similar area always appearing near the start of the games. The animation of the characters running is very exaggerated like the other games, and has their clothes and hair reacting to every step, which makes them feel alive and like they're part of the environment. This specific rock formation, I mean, come on. Even the fact that you can see the land folding on top of itself way in the distance shows the incredible scale and uniqueness of the world that I've only ever seen Xenoblade pull off. This 3-second clip alone has so much of the series' identity within it that even if it was the only thing shown, I still could have told you that it was Xenoblade. Finally, this moment near the end with the girl dancing within these light particles reminds me so much of Xenoblade 3 and the Offseers. I think more than anything, Xenoblade thrives with its ability to make the player feel these strong emotions, and they always do so in a way that is new and unexpected, yet still deeply moving. I get the same sort of feeling with this scene as I did in Xenoblade 1 and the attack on Colony 9, or Mithra's awakening in Xenoblade 2, and especially Xenoblade 3 and literally any of the big Offseer scenes. I know those are all very, very different scenes with very different vibes, but what I'm trying to say is this part of the trailer just tells me that this game is still going to evoke those deep and heavy emotions that the series is known for, which I love. Again, I do kind of understand where people are coming from on this one. It is vastly different from what we know, but in my eyes, the things that make Xenoblade aren't exclusively mechs or red lightsaber swords. It's the characters, art style, impactful story beats, and especially the crazy worlds as well. Also, change is a good thing. I wouldn't want them to do the same thing over and over, so I am very excited to see them try a new genre. Although mechs, and especially red lightsaber weapons, are really, really cool. And it would be awesome if we got them at some point, which perfectly brings me to the next complaint I've seen, which is that there aren't enough sci-fi elements. The sci-fi genre is such a prevalent part of Xenoblade's identity, and straight up, I would be extremely surprised if we went the whole game without at least dealing with some kind of cosmic energy or entity or space something. I don't know. It could very well just stay as a strict fantasy game the whole time, which, like I said, is okay with me. I like the new ideas, but I do have a small, kind of obvious theory regarding this and the overall direction of the game based on this first trailer. With every mainline Xenoblade game, shit always hits the fan during the first chapter or two. For lack of me trying to find a more elegant way of putting this, the first chapter is always like, hey, this is how the world works, and here are the characters within that world. They understand and are comfortable with how the world works. Then something crazy happens that shifts the balance of the story, and the characters and players' perception of the game's world completely changes. This trailer is specifically stated to be early parts of the game, and I think anything that's past that is going to follow this formula, and maybe even be where the sci-fi or techno elements come in. It's pretty subtle in my opinion, but some fans have already made theories about this as well. Like maybe the world takes place in a simulation, and that's why it's inverted in on itself. Or even the theory that this giant rock formation here is an abandoned spaceship or machine or something. Looking at it closely, that last one is probably true, which is now giving me the terrifying reminder that the community is crazy and smart enough to decipher every ounce of lore that this game has to offer before it even gets a second trailer. And I should be very, very careful of spoilers. I technically have no idea where the story is going to go, but if I had to guess, I think inevitably we are going to get that grand sci-fi story that everyone seems to want. And I think they might be hiding it on purpose by only showing the first few parts of the game in this trailer. Like, people are already expecting a sci-fi twist at some point in the game. So I think the most surprising thing they could do is make that twist happen way earlier than normal, if at all. That would be pretty cool in my opinion, but I trust they'll make it work no matter what. Also, like, listen to the music right at the end when the logo appears. That kinda, it's so techie, that's gotta be on purpose. Complaint number 3, where are the Nopon? I can't lie, man, we might have to hold the L on this one. I think Monolith killed them. They're dead. We have Master Shifu's cousin now, which looks awesome, but yeah, we might have to wrap it up here. Complaint number 4, the character designs are too basic, / the game looks like a generic anime game now. I want to say right off the bat how funny it is that when Xenoblade 2 came out, people were upset because the designs were too crazy, and now people are upset because they're not crazy enough. Genuinely, I understand both sides of this. I just think it's funny how times change. Anyways, I find the topic of character designs within the Xenoblade series to be difficult, albeit very interesting to discuss. It's such a point of contention for fans, and for donkey viewers for some reason, due to how much the art style changes with each game. I love how we get something new every time, but of course that's going to lead to some designs being preferred over others. And for this game, we're seeing a pretty big jump with this new setting, but also with new character designers. As far as I can tell from the faces, these characters look great. And honestly, I couldn't tell if they were designed by Masatsugu Saito or not initially, which in my opinion is a good thing. I have heard, however, people commenting about how the characters look too generic by Xenoblade standards, and I think a big part of that is the outfits. A lot of people have brought this up already, but the character outfits seen in the trailer are all clearly Academy uniforms, all sharing relatively similar designs. However, they're almost certainly not the character's default costumes. You can even see Darcy Dragon Rider here with a different outfit from his Academy one, although maybe that's dragon riding attire, I have no idea. Either way, I imagine the characters might get some fancier clothes after the Academy blows up and they have to save the world or whatever. Also, someone can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure it was Monolith Soft employees that designed the outfits for the characters in Xenoblade 3, while Masatsugu Saito was more in charge of the faces and hairstyles. I feel like I heard that at some point. I don't know. If that is the case, then I think once we see everyone's regular outfits, people are going to be a lot happier with the uniqueness of the character designs. And I think it will help a lot with the game feeling more Xenoblade as well. Like, come on, you can't tell me that Jane Genesis wouldn't look sick with a red jacket and a cool Minato sword. Just look at that hair. I genuinely feel like once we see these characters in some more diverse and colorful clothing, then this complaint will go away. Like, it would be the same as if Xenoblade 3's first trailer only showing off Chapter 1, and we only got to see the characters in their war uniforms. I'm certain if that was the case, people would have called that game out for basic looking character designs as well, but of course we got to see everyone's default outfits, and they all look awesome. So I'm sure we will see the same thing with this game. And last little tangent regarding the character designs, but even with the Academy uniforms, they are clearly being designed with a lot of intent behind them. I'm of course just guessing here, but among the main characters, the ones with the elf ears all have bright royal blue uniforms with golden trims, likely to signify their higher status in the world, whereas the human characters look to have more common folk outfits with less flair, likely to signify their opposite status. This can even be seen with this character, who looks fucking awesome by the way, as she has a lot of jewelry and fancy headgear as well. It just shows that whether you like the character designs or not, they are clearly putting a lot of effort into connecting the designs with the story, which is all I could ask for. And finally, the last complaint I've seen, people are not happy with the school setting. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this one. I have no problem with it. My guess as to why people are skeptical here is one of two things. Either it reminds them too much of Harry Potter, and seeing J.K. Rowling's influence on their beloved Xenoblade series is unnerving, which honestly, fair enough. or they've played Fire Emblem Three Houses and are traumatized by the amount of time you have to spend in that godforsaken monastery. Just based on the structure of the previous Xenoblade games, I can pretty confidently say that we're not going to be spending even close to as much time at the school as you do in Three Houses or Harry Potter. Most likely. You're constantly on the move with these games, so I imagine Liukos will only act as the beginning town, there to set up the story and characters' goals and ambitions. In terms of design choice, I think anytime you have some kind of school within a high fantasy setting, it's inevitably going to feel pretty similar to all the others. But in my eyes, it's just a way to emphasize that these characters are still young and learning things, which in turn immediately gives us a better picture of their personalities and roles. Shulk is an engineer or scientist, Rex is a sailor/salvager, Noah is a musician and philosopher, and Jane Genesis is a scholar. I think it's awesome how all the main characters have completely different occupations that all revolve around trying to understand the world better. It's what makes the protagonist so interesting, and I think making this new girl a student is perfect for this, and already sets her up to be able to question the world around her, which fits Xenoblade's themes so well. Alright, I've changed my mind. No more positivity. It's time to talk about the things that I think are going to ruin the game. And by ruin the game, I mean a couple very minor things that made me slightly curious. And hey, if these complaints irritate you, then you can tell me I'm stupid. That's equality, baby. Number 1, something is off about some of the backgrounds. I don't know if it's the cell shading or the textures or what, but a lot of the hills and mountains look rough. Maybe I'm just not used to it yet, but they seem kind of fuzzy or blurry or maybe unfinished. Xenoblade 2 ended up looking a little different from its initial reveal, and we're still probably more than a year away from release, so I'm really not too worried about this, just something that I noticed. The characters, towns, and effects look amazing though. Number 2, and not to sound like a Smash fan here, but there's too many damn sword characters. At least that's how it looks. She's got a sword, he's got a sword, she's got 2 swords, and it looks like this guy's only weapon is a short sword or maybe a really big knife. This is also going off the assumption that these are the 6 main characters, but I find it surprising that 4 out of 6 of them use swords as their main weapon. The trailer even shows other characters with halberds and staffs and axes and hammers, so why do all the main characters start with swords? Looking at it again, maybe the characters we see during this segment will act like the heroes do in 3, and we can use their weapons and stuff. Ever since Xenoblade X, you've always been able to give your characters a bunch of different weapon styles to switch things up, but I genuinely have no idea for this game. This could obviously change throughout the story or during gameplay, but as of right now, I find it a little curious. And finally, my potentially most baseless concern, I find it crazy how early this game got announced and is releasing. I guess when I stop and think about the actual time frame, it isn't too crazy. Xenoblade 3 came out 4.5 years after Xenoblade 2, and it looks like this game will land about the same distance away from Xenoblade 3. The folks at Monolith Soft are clearly a bunch of wizards, and I have no doubt that they can pump out great quality games at such a quick rate. But with the current climate of game development, and the Switch 2 probably demanding better graphics and everything, I was definitely expecting this game to take a bit longer. I just don't want the game to be rushed or cut short, because unfortunately there was a period of time when Monolith Soft games were being released like that. I think the relationship with Nintendo is way better now, and I don't think it's any cause for concern just because it is Monolith, but I truly hope they aren't being rushed or anything, and they can take as much time as they need to create the game that they want to create. That is truly my biggest hope. I cannot wait to see more of this game. I don't think it's fully set in yet that it's real and that we will be playing it sometime next year. To be honest, I'm not really expecting any updates until at least next year, just because we're getting the Switch 2 editions for the other games this year, and because we don't have a more specific release window yet for Genesis. But as I've said many times, the folks at Monolith Soft are a bunch of magicians, so who knows, maybe we'll get an update sooner than expected. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know what has you excited or concerned about this game. I read every comment and really appreciate the discussions. Peace.